What's going on, dudes and dudettes? So yes, of course, my first main topic I just brushed over, so you're gonna hear me say welcome, dudes and dudettes, twice in this video, but I am putting this first because it is the bigger topic. So yes, both USC and UCLA were accepted into the Big Ten Conference just yesterday. I mean, earlier in the day, it said they were trying to get in there. They submitted an applications to be in the conference, and then just hours later, apparently the teams had voted and they were accepted. I'll get into the teams that I think did not vote for them, even though they said it was a unanimous decision, but a couple teams did not post on social media. A couple schools didn't post on there, so I'm gonna go after them a little bit harder in the future. But overall, it is a big thing. It's all pretty much about money because the Pac-12 is just kind of dangling there. They've been doing some good stuff. George Kliavkoff, the GM or president or whatever, the commissioner, of the Pac-12, been doing some good stuff, trying to help out USC to be able to get to the championship. But overall, the teams in there, they just aren't that good. Even basketball-wise, they're not good. But being able to go up against like Ohio State, Michigan, all those guys, Penn State, not only in football but basketball as well, it's going to be pretty good. I know that makes it 16 teams for the Big Ten, which I don't know why it was still called the Big Ten when they had 14 teams on there. But I know they're definitely looking to add, because I heard Oregon submitted an application, so did the University of Washington, which kind of makes sense because they are northwestern schools, but geographically they are pretty far away of like USC and UCLA, which doesn't make sense. I think the farthest schools were like UCLA and Rutgers, which is in like New Jersey, I believe. So it's just crazy how they're doing that. But overall, I think it's a pretty big deal. We're not going to have to worry about USC not being on TV when they have to play a crappy team, because I think the Big Ten Network won't show them because they show a lot more crappier games. But Big Ten works with ESPN a lot and Fox as well. So they'll definitely get all their games televised nationally, which is really good. Gonna be weird traveling and playing in the snow later, like in November, December, but it could be an advantage for those teams, especially in the Big Ten. But it's just gonna make USC look even better if they can go in there and beat those teams on their home fields, especially in those conditions. But overall, it's great. Still waiting to see if I was about to say something bad, but waiting to see if Notre Dame would end up joining the Big Ten as well, just because they're like literally right there, smack dab in the middle of all those schools, and yet, I think except for two sports, they play in the ACC. But other than that, they are independents. But either way, I think they should join, stop being a bunch of babies, and join the men and play the game of football. I know a couple other schools might end up joining. The only other Pac-12 school maybe to add football-wise is Utah from the Pac-12. Because Stanford, I don't know what they're going to do. They're really been off and on lately. But adding Oregon and Washington could be cool to that as well. Arizona only for basketball, because they have historically one of the better basketball franchises in college out there. So that could be good to add to the Big Ten, but who knows what's going to happen. I hear it could be like, pretty much like the NFL, where it's going to be like 40 teams in one conference, and other teams are going to want to join the SEC as well, which is going close to 20 schools as of this moment too. So you never know how many more schools they are going to add as well. And there's going to be a lot of money too of other teams trying to leave, like the ACC, like Clemson and Florida State, Miami. They're going to pay like hundreds of millions of dollars just to be able to leave, because they just recently signed a contract as well. But overall, it's going to be great. And yes, let's get back to me saying welcome again. But yes, big freaking story for USC and their future, not only in football, but all their sports. And yeah, it's going to be tough on the students, but then don't come to USC if you don't want to put in all the effort. But yes, fight on, and let's keep the show going. Yes, it's been a while, but hopefully I get all this older information down quickly before 20 minutes, so let's see if I can do that. Russell Westbrook did end up picking up his player option the other day. So now it doesn't matter. The Lakers still say if they can find a trade, they will still trade him. Obviously, it's a big contract. Hopefully, you'll get another star player back, but you probably will have to give up first round picks in the process. But overall, I guess it just kind of looks like if they don't get a deal done with Kyrie or someone like that, then have to stick with Westbrook for at least half the season, as I mentioned in the past couple months, and then halfway through the year trade him around the All-Star break, and that other team only has to buy him out of $20 million or less, something like that. So I think that would be more enticing around that time, but for the first half of the season, we might have to deal with Russell Westbrook on the Lakers squad. And then Lakers, I don't know if I mentioned this before or not, but they are picking up and keeping a lot of the players that they've had that are already younger on their roster. Austin Reeves, Wenyen Gabriel, and Stanley Johnson are all returning on their pretty minimum deals, so it's not bad to get a couple young guys with talent like that back on your squad. And then ex-Dookie, who was selected number 2 overall a couple years ago, Marvin Bagley III, had a tumultuous time in there in Sacramento, but got traded to Detroit and had a pretty nice resurgence late last year going to the offseason, and it earned him a big contract because they picked up his option first, but then they decided to give him a 3-year deal around $37 million, something like that. So that's pretty awesome for him. So it still shows he has some talent left and ability to contribute to your team. So definitely very happy and excited for him, especially out there in Detroit. They're making a pretty nice looking team. And another Duke player that signed, the ex-2015 National Championship Finals MVP, Tyus Jones, is returning to the Memphis Grizzlies on a 2-year, $30 million deal. Definitely deserved it. Obviously, maybe could have gotten more money somewhere. You never know, but it's his home team, so he got it's his team that he's playing for now, so he probably got the most he could have gotten anyways. But overall, still a good deal and definitely a good pickup for Memphis as well. Then freshman safety who's coming into USC right now from Bishop Gorman in Nevada, Zion Branch. He apparently suffered a knee injury during their summer workouts, but according to head coach Lincoln Riley, says he's dinged up pretty bad, but luckily it doesn't seem like anything really too serious, which is always good to hear, especially when has to do with a knee injury. But they do expect him to be practicing and playing in the fall. So that's a very good thing to hear from right now, coming from your head coach and the player. So hopefully that does end up happening. Then the Sacramento Kings ended up picking up the option for Chimezie Metu, an ex-USC player, to stay on their team for at least another year, which is pretty cool for him. He's been traveling, at least, I think he was in San Antonio, maybe got traded out there or went to sign in Sacramento. So it's only been 2 teams, but he's been able to carve out a role, at least off the bench, on a couple of teams here and there. Then ex-Duke players Matthew Hurt ended up signing with the Bucks to play on their summer league team, so good luck to him. He should have definitely been in college still. Should not have left after 2 years, even though he did have a good second year. But overall, good luck to him to try to make the Milwaukee Bucks squad. And then Javin DeLaurier, ex-Duke player, is going to be playing for the San Antonio Spurs in their summer league for a chance to get on the roster. So good luck to him as well. And then sadly, I think I mentioned the last video that Theo John, ex-Duke player who just graduated from there, signed with his home team in Minnesota. He's going to play for the summer league, but then ended up suffering just recently a knee injury right before they end up going to Vegas, which sucks. I don't know exactly if the team is still going to keep him or not, but he does say he does believe in his faith and he's going to get back onto the court and hopefully back with the Minnesota Timberwolves. So we'll see about that. Then, I don't know, I think I wrote the story down, but for some reason I missed it the last video, where a player who was just drafted from Arizona, Benedict Mathurin, to the Indiana Pacers last week, it was last week, the draft, something like that. He ended up saying that he can't wait to play against LeBron because LeBron has to show him that he's the greatest player of all time, or one of the GOATs, or the best player in the NBA as of right now. So I can't wait till the Lakers end up playing Indiana Pacers just to see what LeBron does, because he's definitely going to get up and play very well for that game to kind of shut up the kid for a little bit. But we'll see what Benedict ends up having, because he did have a pretty solid year with Arizona recently this last season. But I don't know, it could be a wake-up call when you're calling on the king, LeBron James. Then the Lakers had a couple of free agent signings, pretty solid dudes. Kind of surprising what they did with their bigger contract available, the mid-level exception at $6 million, but going for upside, just like how they did last year with Malik Monk, who sadly left to the Sacramento Kings for more money, but ended up getting another guy who is just kind of like Monk, who was a first-round pick, didn't really do much with the team he was drafted by, and now he's available. And the Lakers are going to take a chance on him. And it doesn't hurt that he is a Clutch Sport client as well, so it wasn't surprising that he's accepted the Lakers' first offer. So Lonnie Walker IV is going to the Lakers on a 1-year, $6.5 million deal. He's always shown to be very athletic. I remember him playing while he was at Miami against Duke, and he showed a lot of talent in college. He stayed 2 years, ended up getting drafted after that by San Antonio. He's shown some flashes of athleticism, never really got a consistent shot, which I guess that's why he never really played that much for San Antonio, but taking a chance on him, see what he can do, and if he does blossom, then obviously could give him a new contract, because next season be done with Westbrook's deal, so we'll have the ability to sign whoever. So sadly, we couldn't keep Malik Monk, but that's the way the NBA goes. Then Damian Jones, an ex-player that the Lakers actually had, I think, a year or two ago. It's pretty recent, where they just signed him pretty much just to add to their roster. He ended up playing due to injuries and played pretty well, but then got claimed by Sacramento off of waivers and was able to carve out a nice year role for them last year, but ended up coming back to the Lakers on a 2-year deal. It is a minimum deal. Don't know how much it is, but I believe that second year is a player option, I believe. So, yeah, it's not too bad. Not going to cost them that much either, but he is a solid, athletic, 6'10 plus big for them, which is what they needed. He can shoot the three a little bit, but I think they are going to go for a taller three-point shooter at some point. They also ended up getting one of the recent Golden State championship winners in Juan Toscano-Anderson on a 1-year deal. I believe he's the first Mexican-born player. I don't know if it was to play in the NBA or to win a championship. I forget what it was, but it's pretty cool to have him on our team. He's very athletic in that 6'8", 6'9" area. He never really got to play as much with Golden State because they obviously have a lot of great players, but him being able to switch on defense because of his versatility of not only athleticism but height as well, has a good wingspan. He'll be playing a lot for the Lakers, I believe, and it's a pretty good deal that's pretty good money on a 1-year deal for the Lakers. Then they also signed Troy Brown Jr. He's an ex-Oregon player, so I know him from playing against USC. He's a pretty young guy. I think he's still like 22, 23. But for some reason, when he was at Washington with the Wizards, he got some playing time, and you thought he was going to be good and didn't really pan out. His last stop as well, he had a couple of good games, and then I think it was Chicago. He had a couple of good games and then fell out of the rotation. So you're just hoping that, these guys a little bit younger than what they have been getting the past couple years, to see if they hit on any of these guys and you keep them on your roster, kind of like how they did with Gabriel and Johnson last year, and then see what happens. So definitely looking forward to what these guys can bring to the team. I believe the Lakers it's either 2 to 4 more spots, which I believe one is going to be occupied by their second round pick, Max Christie. Don't know if any of the two-way guys are going to get on those spots, so they might still have room to sign someone else or room to bring back more players in a trade as well. So you just never know with these LA Lakers and Rob Pelinka, their GM. Then thought this was very interesting, going through Twitter and stuff and seeing who congratulated USC and UCLA on getting to this getting this crazy deal, as we mentioned before, that they're going to be in the Big Ten now at the start of the 2024 season, which is crazy, but it's money. The Pac-12 was dying, so you already know that. But I did go through to see who congratulated and who did not congratulate, because they said it was a unanimous decision, which means everybody voted yes for those teams to be in the conference. But excuse me, I kind of figured some of them didn't, because more than half congratulated them. Like teams like Purdue congratulated them, Wisconsin did, Michigan State, Nebraska, Maryland, Iowa, even though their fans have been pretty mean online, Illinois, and Indiana. They all welcomed USC and UCLA to the conference, and it was pretty cool. So I'm assuming all those teams accepted them into the conference, but I think these other teams are going to be having more targets when it comes to USC fans and players as well, because they seem like they don't want USC, which is kind of obvious because it's like 3 of the top teams in the conference weren't the ones that put up anything on social media or anything like that congratulating the teams on coming in. But these teams, at least for my sake, I'm going to be very happy in the future whenever USC does beat them, and soak it in a little bit more. So teams that did not congratulate were Ohio State, which obvious they don't like the competition. Michigan, once again, they don't like the competition. They're one of the top teams. Northwestern, smart school, but they kind of have a lot of up and down football seasons. Rutgers, who is pretty much one of the crappier teams in the conference, still didn't congratulate USC. Penn State, another big time school up there, that didn't congratulate, and also Minnesota as well did not congratulate USC. So taking mental notes of that, definitely looking forward to beating on those fools whenever 2024 comes around. And yeah, you heard my thoughts about how crazy it is to be in the Big Ten now because of all the geological difference of how far they are on the U.S. map. But overall, I think we can get through it. And off on some miscellaneous news. Yes, drummer of Blink-182, Travis Barker, was rushed to the hospital earlier this week. Didn't really know exactly what had happened, and his younger daughter had asked everybody on social media for prayers for her father, and they kept saying his newly wife, Kourtney Kardashian. Is it Kourtney? I don't know. It's one of the Kardashian chicks. It's by his side the whole time. I have thoughts of why she was there, but yeah. Overall, I think the next day we found out that it was due to pancreatitis, which is why he was there. But they said it kind of came up after he had a colonoscopy, which he just recently had apparently. So it's kind of weird how that like inflamed it or made it worse, the pancreatitis. So overall, sending good hopes and good vibes to him. Definitely sending all your prayers to him, just because I'm pretty sure pancreatitis is a tough thing to get through, and hopefully he can get through it successfully. This dude's been through so much crap in his life, but definitely hoping it's not like a sacrificial lamb or anything like that for the Kardashians. You just never know. But yeah, thanks for watching, people. Like, subscribe, comment down below. Let me know what y'all think. Have a great rest of your day. Bye. Bye, Dom.